according to the World Economic Forum, having a high emotional intelligence is number 6 on the list of the qualities you will need to succeed. IQ is that highly measurable intelligence quotient that we all know. And, for many years, people put a lot of pressure on, how high your IQ was and where you go to school. And then came EQ, your emotional intelligence, and then that's your ability to control, evaluate, and express your emotions. And what we found out, and market researchers found out, is your success in business had much more to do with your emotional intelligence. What's interesting about emotional intelligence is we are actually emotional creatures. So we really don't get a choice. There's an event in our life, and then we have a reaction. We have an emotional reaction, right? We see something, we walk into a home and it feels good, right? We're having someone insulted us, we feel bad. So as emotional creatures, we really don't have a choice. We're going to have an emotional reaction. Now it's your ability to control that reaction. So a lot of this is based on our history of how we act emotionally to things that come at us as examples. In business, the stronger your relationships are, the easier it is to get your point across. The weaker your relationships are, the harder it is. And the more valuable and the closer your relationships are, the more you'll succeed. And in harm's way, when you can't get a point across, you're more likely to fail in trying to get ahead. The hallmark of emotional intelligence is self-awareness. Okay, so you need to be self-aware how you feel, how you handle yourself emotionally, and how you relate to other people. But you also need to understand how other people perceive you. If you can understand yourself emotionally and how other people perceive you, you're going to be able to adjust and you're going to be able to adapt to any given situation, and you will become the masters of influence. With emotional intelligence, it's becoming, it's very important. Actually, in 2020, according to the World Economic Forum, having a high emotional intelligence is number 6 on the list of the qualities you will need to succeed. Because as technology takes over, even negotiation skills will drop off the list completely. So it's really your ability to connect. And I really think that all the way from the top up to the top down and down to the top, EQ is going to become highly important. You want your employees to be able to come up and discuss with you either new ideas or where they're struggling, etc. And if they're not comfortable enough to have this open relationship with you, your company will suffer for it. So people need to be really self-aware and really, focus on their emotional intelligence skills. I think emotional intelligence can be learned. Part of it's that self-awareness. If you're willing to take a look at yourself and listen to feedback, you can do it. I mean, you can always go to therapy and talk your problems out. There's nothing wrong with going to a therapist or having your close friends that can act as therapists. What people need to what I think people don't understand is that CEOs and everyone at the top are typically just as insecure as anyone else. And if they are acting like they're hard to approach or they are not nice, they're jerks, it's because usually it's a defense mechanism for other things. But it can be learned, and you can definitely, little traits you can do is, I think people being curious about people, asking questions, getting off what's about business and asking about something personal so you can relate on another level. So if you're both struggling with your children or you're both struggling with other, maybe associates at work, those are things that kind of tap into your emotional intelligence, being able to have conversations that are really legitimate and put you, in a vulnerable space. A great CEO does know their faults. There are a lot of CEOs that, listen, you have a reputation. You don't die with the money in your pocket. You die with who you are as a person. So if you want to be a great CEO, you want to have that reputation of being a good person. Typically, CEO are generalists, So they are great managers. So they know a little bit about a lot, in many cases. So they know how to manage people well and are micromanaging and trust the people that they bring in. So that is a highly emotional, intelligent person. I think a good way for you to learn about yourself and with emotional intelligence, or you're questioning yourself, is to ask for people for feedback. Even if I've done, public speaking engagement, I might say, well, how did you like it? Did you relate to it? Is there something I can do better? Really, asking other people for feedback and being okay with what that is. That's important. And, we all, a lot of times we need validation anyway. I don't know anyone that doesn't need validation. You could be the president of the United States, the CEO of a company, but you want to hear that you're doing something positive and you're getting good validation.